Hello everybody! In this video, I wanted to show you a sneak peek into how we organized all of our information that would eventually lead into the creation of the Help Center on our website. In the Medium article I'm writing, the first step I outlined was pretty much just talking with customers through the customer support channels, see what they ask about, see the type of people they are and how they're involved with the product. And so I use this tool called Coggle. You can use any tool you like, but I found it really helpful because I can branch out and make all these crazy webs. But at the time that I first got hired, I sat down with my bosses and we pretty much went through a couple of questions, and then we also went through some like ideal future type things. So I can show you guys sneak peek into each one of these. Things like, where do people come to look for the documentation? So we have a bunch of different channels that feed into that Help Center page. And this is important to get an understanding of like what type of information they're expecting coming from each one of these channels. We also have like who would use our documentations. We kind of narrowed it down to a couple of different people. So for example, we might have developers, website builders who are not necessarily like coders or programmers, but they do build websites for clients. And then we have the professional type of person who's just like a website owner, a business owner who's not necessarily technically savvy. So we had these three categories, and these are going to be different for every business. So it's important to kind of sit through these and figure out who the type of people you're working with are. For example, a developer is going to have very different priorities from the regular business owner, and the information that they're looking for is obviously going to be different. When do people use our documentations? We went through a couple of different scenarios. For example, somebody who's looking for pre-sale information is going to be a lot different for someone who is just looking to, update their license or something like that. So we have to also keep in mind like all the different reasons that people come to our documentation center for. We also had to think through what the type of information they're looking for. So I narrowed it down to some branches, and obviously the functionality branch is going to be the most widespread one, but this helped a lot in picking out the categories for the documentation. If we look at our final categories, our final top level categories, it boiled down to these. As you can see here, we have some of that are really similar. So we have troubleshooting, we have the account and billing. So if we see here, so we have the accounts, we have troubleshooting, the getting started type of information, and then we have notifications, appointments, integrations, and a lot of those translated over here. A lot of these categories also come from the software itself. So some of these are really intuitive to just have. We have a tab in our plugin called appointment types. So that's where some of these come from. We also wanted to have some priorities for ourselves as far as what we wanted to include in the documentation. So before we didn't have a search bar, we didn't have tags, we didn't have any tagging built into the CMS. And so we just wanted to make sure we didn't forget about any of these really important features and that we would eventually get to them. The ideal future, we wanted to keep track of all the documentations that other businesses have built, and we wanted to keep track of the ones we liked, and then we wanted to also keep track of the ones that we didn't like. Then we also had some more like high-level ideas pointed out. So for example, we wanted to have a structured tag system. We wanted to make sure that this led to better response times, better handle times, and then we wanted better getting started tutorials. So someone just barely downloading the plugin can maneuver it pretty easily and find the information that they need, which was not there before. We also wanted to take some notes on the customer language. Software is a little nuanced in the words that people use. For example, a lot of people email us and use appointments, booking, schedule. They'll use all kinds of different words, but they essentially mean the same thing. So we wanted to make it clear which ones we wanted to use and moving forward so that there's no confusion. Let's see, we wanted to keep track of our upcoming features just to keep in mind what we need to eventually include And then we also wanted to make it really clear what the current issues with our documentation were, so that we can not create the same problems again and just make sure we're fixing them as we move forward. So some of them were like, the articles are too bulky, we have duplicate information, we don't have a search bar, landing page is overwhelming. So things like that were helpful to keep track of. And that's what this big old monster of a page is, but I thought it was really helpful to keep track of that type of information as we built out the Help Center.